Hey everyone, and welcome to Butchie Boom Reviews. Tonight it's George Jones, and her name is. Stick around over the next 17 seconds, and we'll be right back. Make sure you read that scroll. It's going to tell you exactly what we're doing here. Hey everyone, welcome back. Okay, George Jones. We're here talking about George Jones tonight. Her name is. A song from back in the mid-70s, I think 76 if I'm not mistaken. I read about it earlier. It's not one of the oldest of his songs, but it's certainly one of the better of all of the songs. Very popular back in the day on the radio. I can remember being a kid, hearing it on the radio, being dropped off at school in the morning. So it does bring me back. It is a great song. It's a song worthy of being on the radio again today because, well, number one, it's George Jones, and if you've been watching along with any of our videos, you know that I love George Jones. So I'm a little bit biased here, but with that said, part of the goal of this video is not to just review, it's also to educate or re-educate us, so to speak, whether or not, I want you guys to know George Jones. If you already know who he is, reintroduce you to him if maybe you forgot about him. But I'm willing to bet you a lot of you don't know this song because, frankly, I bet you all of you are not old enough to know this song. I guess I'm speaking volumes for my age. But don't let that fool you. I know George Jones. And her name is not only worthy of being on the radio, it's worthy of being on today's radio, not relegated to some 7 o'clock Sunday morning routine that the majority of the country stations play. George Jones, for some reason, even the local country station here where I live in the Capital District of New York, Albany, I called them several years ago, asked them to play a George Jones song, just way back in the day, and the guy laughed me off the phone almost. And here's what happened. I told the guy, he said that there was no way he was going to play George Jones, and I said, there's no way I was ever going to listen to your station again. And that's exactly what happened. I'll tell you, it was WGNA in Albany. They still won't play George Jones. So if you don't like the fact that they won't play George Jones, give them a call and let them know. Tell them Butchie Boom sent you. And that's why now today I have to listen to XM because it's the only place that you can hear this kind of music. Willie's Roadhouse Channel 59. They're not an advertiser or a sponsor or anything like that, but it's one of the places that I know that we can go today to get this kind of music. And my commentary, my opinion is it should be on the radio, and it needs to be on more than just 7 o'clock Sunday morning. Why? Let's get into why. First of all, there's no snapping and popping that we're hearing in today's country music. This is plain, straight up George Jones country music. You can, the lyrics are clear and articulate. The band is not noisy and loud. It actually all melts together nicely, and that's why I want you guys to hear the song so you can tell me whether or not you agree. Is the song typecast to George Jones? You better believe it. I can't see anybody else doing that song. I don't know if anybody's ever covered it. If you know something like that, or if somebody's covered, let me know in the comments, but I've never seen it. The big question mark, I think, that remains, and I'm not sure George ever quite answered it, is who was the song about? Now, clearly, I don't believe George wrote it, but I believe that he sang the song for a particular person. Could it be Tammy Wynette? I don't know. Melba Montgomery? I don't know. Or his wife, the current wife before he died. I have no idea. Back in '76, I'd put him with Tammy back in the day, so right about that time. So, that's my suspicion. Again, I don't know. But we're going to play George in just a minute. But before we do, I want to tell you that I want you to subscribe and hit the bell. We're putting videos out every Saturday, 8 o'clock. George Jones, we're going to do a few more of his songs. Keep an eye out. This is not He Stopped Loving Her Today. This is well before it. He Stopped Loving Her Today with George Jones. I love the song, don't get me wrong. Great song. But when they label that as George Jones' best song, I got a bone to pick with people because that means they don't know George Jones. So this song here is a good representation of George Jones, but we got a lot more we're going to show you about George Jones, the man, and his music. So if nothing else, you're going to walk away with a greater understanding of who George Jones is and the style of music that he sings, and including this song right here. Let me grab my headphones so I can listen to you again. All right. Her name is, everybody.
Oh, I love her and I just can't live without her. And I've got the urge to tell the world about her. But our love's a secret and can't see the light of day. But I went and wrote this love song anyway. Her name is, her eyes are, her hair is just like, and she measures. But someday I'll fill in the lines when she and I are free, and we'll walk in the sunshine and me. Oh, it really is a scandal and disgrace to have to call your woman what's her face. But her husband thinks he owns her heart and soul for life, and he'll kill the man who messes with his wife. Her name is, her eyes, her hair is just like, and she measures. Oh, someday I'll fill in the lines when she and I are free, and we'll walk in the sunshine and me. Yes, someday I'll fill in the lines when she and I are free, and we'll walk in the sunshine and me. Her name is.
Wow. So, you've heard it. You've heard what I've heard and how I base my opinion. I believe that this song belongs on the radio. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. There's nothing offensive. There's nothing that would socially date the song. It's got a good rhythm. It flows along. You can sing to it. Why not? Big question mark. With that said, we're here every Saturday night, 8 o'clock, putting these videos out left and right as fast as we can make them and as fast as we can get the copyright clearance. A lot of work, folks, go into these videos. You can show your appreciation by subscribing. You can hit that bell up there because we're putting the videos out all the time. Maybe you don't want to be annoyed with the bells going off all the time. Turn the bell off, but keep that subscription going. Here's the other thing. You can really help us and support us by watching our videos, watching the commercials too. I hate those commercials, but you can help support us by watching them. Apparently that's okay. The other thing is I want to say thank you if you are just tuning in for the first time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And if you're just returning, wow, thank you. So without you, we can't do this. Really, I mean it. So we'll see you next Saturday, 8 o'clock. Godspeed.